Good evening and welcome to the Private Property Podcast, where we provide you with valuable knowledge and information on all things to do with property. Whether you are a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or you're just looking for some expert advice, we have got you covered. All you have to do is tune in every Tuesday and every Thursday at 7 p.m. for tips, insights, and expert advice on burning topics related to property, because this podcast is brought to you by Private Property. Remember, you can find your new home on privateproperty.co.za. Welcome to the Private Property Podcast. On tonight's episode, we'll be finding out exactly what kind of financing options you can access to find solutions for your load shedding. Joining me in studio to discuss this interesting topic is Portia Letlape, Head of Product at Absa Home Loans. But before we dive into today's conversation, please remember to comment below and share your thoughts about today's show. You can join the conversation by using the hashtag find your new home on privateproperty.co.za and hashtag the Private Property Podcast on all social media. We'll be keeping an eye out for your posts, and we may even feature some of your comments on the show. Because this is the Private Property Podcast, where we provide you with valuable information and knowledge on all things property related. Like I said, I'm not alone in studio. I'm joined by Absa's Portia Letlape, who is going to tell me how she's navigating stage 6 load shedding. How's it going?
Good evening, Sips, and thank you so much for having us. And good evening to our viewers at home. Stage 6 load shedding. Hey, it's been rough, eh?
Portia!
It has been rough. I think the last time I was here, I spoke about the new installation that I did at my home. So I've got an entire solar solution at my home. I think when you're at home, at this point, I'm more comfortable at home than outside.
Yeah.
Because I actually get to face the reality of load shedding when I actually leave the house, right? Because then I'm like, oh, the traffic lights are off, and there's like all that drama that's happening outside. Thank God that I actually do have a solution in place.
That's literally what happened to me this morning, and I was stuck on William Nicol for so long. I just had to start playing gospel music because my inner rage was simmering, and I thought I'm really going to be one of those people who does something strange on the road because I'm so angry because of load shedding.
Absolutely. No, it's been rough. It's really been rough for most South Africans.
In your experience now with the current load shedding pandemic, and I mean, it's becoming increasingly unbearable, what is the biggest want and need that the customers you're dealing with are facing on a daily basis?
I think a lot of us, I think we've also experienced it ourselves as individuals, you and I, right? There's a lot of need for information, Sips. I think in our last conversation you and I had, we were saying that there's so many installers out there. Everyone is doing a solar installation, and a lot of our consumers are saying, where do I start? I know I have a need because at this point everyone needs some sort of a solution, but I don't know where to start. Where do I find information that is trustworthy? Who do I work with? Can I trust the guy who comes with a pamphlet at our complex and says he does solar installation? I think also around the access of funds, to do the solar installation itself, right? Because we know it is quite a big investment, right? And for most South Africans, we don't all have, 200,000 rand sitting in a bank account.
No, we're struggling.
We're all
Let's say it plainly, we're struggling. Our belts are tight. They are entirely too tight.
Absolutely. So when you get a quote that says 150,000 rand, you're thinking, where do I find this money? And you actually see your family sitting in the dark every evening. It is heartbreaking. So that's what the market needs at this point.
Sure. Because candles are dangerous, Portia. Candles are so dangerous. If you don't know, well, you know. But if you don't know, I'm now giving you the plug, right? Absa has this amazing page on their website. The actual link to the site should be flashing at the bottom of the screen somewhere. This page has 3 unique menu offerings. It shows you how to power your home for less, how to manage your monthly repayments, and it gives you some recommended load shedding solutions. Portia, please take us through these 3 offerings that Absa is proposing, and how you guys are dealing with these very real problems.
So I think just going back to the website and what we have actually built for our consumers, and this is accessible to anyone. You don't necessarily have to be an Absa customer to access this information. Everyone can access it. So we've built content, educational content on our website that educates our customers around, where do you start? How do you find a credible supplier, as an example? What are the things that you look out for in terms of the different solar solutions that are available? What does a hybrid solution mean? What does a UPS, solution mean, etc.? And then we also have a calculator. I really love this calculator because literally with 2-3 clicks, you already have an idea of how much your own solar installation is going to cost you. And then we've also positioned a few finance products as well that customers can actually consider in terms of what we just spoke about. How do I access funds in terms of my solar installation? And then lastly, we also have a supplier that we've partnered with because we understand the importance of our customers using a credible supplier. So we've done the work for you. We've partnered with a supplier who is credible. They've got a range of installers in the country. They've got a physical footprint. You're able to walk into any of their branches as well. But then it gives customers peace of mind that if I do business with these guys, Absa has actually vetted them on my behalf. And then lastly, there's a call me back button that you can click on. You just simply complete your information, your name, your email address, your contact information, and tell us what solution do you think you're looking for. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the solution you're going to
end
get.
up with.
So you'll have a consultation with the supplier.
It's an obligation-free sort of.
Absolutely. So then what we do is we send that information to the supplier. Within a couple of minutes, you get a call back from them actually. And then they say to you, okay, we've just gotten your lead. Let's talk through your needs, etc., etc. And then the process will continue. At some point, Absa will contact you to say, are you comfortable with the quote that you got? Are you ready to apply for finance? And then we take you through the finance process.
Absa is also offering some renewable energy solutions for businesses. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. So Absa has got a product called a green asset finance product. It's really designed for businesses. So we finance the installation of solar solutions from your small to medium enterprises to your very large corporates. We do have a team of renewable energy experts that you can talk to depending on your needs as a business. So basically, from a finance perspective, a customer can choose to finance this over 5 to 7 years.
Wow.
And we actually do cover up to 100% of the cost of the projects, right? Irrespective of how much it costs.
Portia!
And there's no additional security required. But obviously, it is a consultative kind of conversation depending on the size of the project. So we support businesses as well.
Okay, love that for businesses. Don't have one. I'm an individual. So speaking as myself, for myself, and for residential use. It's a big struggle trying to figure out, as you said earlier, what all of the terminology means, what the offerings are, what's legitimate, what's not legitimate, what's affordable, what's not affordable. And it's easy to get caught up in all of the chats, the UPSs and the PPSs and the PPCs and I think PPC is a cement brand, but you get the point of what I'm saying. Yes. So I think for residential use, and also you've got personal experience in this, would you recommend like a UPS or going off-grid completely?
So it really depends, right? It depends on where you are as a homeowner or as a consumer, let me call it that, right? Because if you are renting, ideally you want a solution that is movable, right? Because we had this conversation the last time, you're not going to probably put up a whole off-grid solution in a property that you don't own, right?
Yeah, and then take my solar panels with me when I get my next lease.
Exactly. So you may want to consider what we call a UPS. Generally, it's called an inverter in some instances. Some people call it a battery backup solution, but generally these units are plug and play. It's a trolley. You can buy it from any retailer. You just go, you pick it up, you get home, you plug it on, you connect your cables, and then it just keeps limited appliances on in the property. So you could have, let's say, your Wi-Fi on and maybe a lamp, and then at least your laptop is charging.
It's like a giant power bank.
Exactly, right? So that's what you can consider if you are renting. And also depending on your budget. So for some homeowners during this time, it's very difficult, right, to even think of investing in something that's going to cost you, let's say, 60,000 Rand. As an example, you just want something to keep the lights on, at least make it a little bit comfortable for the family when there's load shedding. So a hybrid solution is you get a battery, right? So a battery is obviously there to keep the energy saved so that during load shedding, it pushes electricity into your house, then you continue operating.
Okay.
Right? Then you've got solar panels at the top of your roof. So solar panels obviously allow you to generate electricity during the day when there's enough sunlight, and then the house uses the solar energy during the day. So you can, operate, watch TV, listen to music, do whatever.
Take a hot shower in this cold winter.
Right, you can, put up your microwave, etc. during the day, and it's directly current from the sun into your house during the day. So you're not using electricity from Eskom, right? But that excess energy that you generate goes into your battery. So it's saved there. Your battery charges up 100%. It's there, right? Now, we also talk about an inverter. So an inverter is what actually just simplistically converts energy from the sun into energy that your appliances can use. We say direct energy to alternative current, right? Now, this is the most popular solution in South Africa because we know that the cost of electricity has gone up. We're all trying to reduce our cost of electricity, right? And secondly, it also helps you from a load shedding perspective. So when the power goes off, the battery kicks in. It doesn't even feel like there's load shedding in your household, right?
Yeah.
And then we also have what we call a battery backup solution.
Okay.
So a battery backup solution, just if you take that picture that I painted on your hybrid solution, it's your inverter and your battery, but you don't have solar panels.
Okay.
Right? Meaning that you are not generating your own electricity. You literally use energy from Eskom. So when the power is on, your battery charges up quickly with electricity from Eskom. It stays there. When there's load shedding, it pushes electricity into your property. So a battery backup would obviously be a little bit cheaper than your hybrid because your hybrid has got solar panels,
which needs installation and
exactly. Now, we spoke about the tax rebate the last time, so I would say right now, if you
up
can,
to 15,000 rand over 3 years.
If you can, I like that because you were listening.
I'm always listening.
So if you can, just put up the solar panels. It's gonna really help you. And then lastly, then we talk off grid, right? Which is a term that most of us were using for quite a while until
green energy. We're going off grid.
Right?
I'm gonna plant my own food.
Yes. So we're all saying we were going off grid until we all learned what off grid means. So off grid actually means that you are literally disconnected from Eskom completely. You have your umbilical cord to Eskom has been cut, right? So when you are off grid, it means that
I so wish.
It comes with its own challenges. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
So when you're off grid, it means that you generate your own electricity, right? You're going to need more solar panels. You're going to need more batteries, which becomes, a little bit more expensive, because you have no Eskom to
fall back on. Yeah.
When there are those weeks when there's like rain, there's overcast, your solar panels are not generating enough electricity, etc.
Yeah.
And also with off-grid, it means that as an example, your stove doesn't necessarily get connected to your solar system. It doesn't, because it requires so much currency. So when they do your hybrid installation, as an example, they will still leave your stove on the grid.
Now I need a gas stove. Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And so generally a solar panel, an off-grid solution does require alternative power sources as well to help you, because you don't have Eskom to lean on. So you're going to need probably a generator. You're going to need a gas stove. You're going to have to make sure that your geyser is also either a gas geyser or it's a solar geyser.
Now my house is also a wind farm, because when it's cloudy outside, I must use the wind rather to help power my things.
Yes, and it is quite pricey. So I'd say, if you can go off grid and you've got the money to do it. But also know that it does come with a little bit more responsibility as well.
While we're on affordability and we're talking about all of these solutions, my next question would be, how do I invest all of this money and make sure that it's also adding value to my property at the same time, so that I'm not completely losing out?
Yeah, so it's quite interesting actually to see what is happening in the market. So the early indicators or insights that we're hearing from the market is that a property that has got some sort of a alternative power solution is more marketable, right? And I think it makes sense, right?
It makes complete sense. I
If you
want
have
to live
between
there.
two properties and the one has got a battery backup solution or a solar solution, you're most likely going to pay. You're most likely going to want the property over the other, right? So it makes it more marketable, and it also makes the time that the property stays in the market a lot shorter than your other properties that don't have alternative power solutions. It also does. From what we are hearing from the market is that it makes the property...
It sounds like you're hearing rumors, like there's someone called the market and they come to you guys every now and again and they're like, listen, Absa.
So we gather a lot of insights from the market. There's a lot of articles that are being written. We work with a lot of industry experts as well. Is that a property that has got an alternative power solution actually sells at 3 to 4% higher than one that doesn't.
That makes complete sense because it's supply and demand and there's a gap, there's a need. And if you can meet that, then I mean, I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
With any of these other loans, should consumers consider adjusting or taking out additional insurance now in order to protect this investment that they're making?
So the insurance conversation has become quite topical and quite important, right? So
I love insurance, by the way. Like, there's no world in which I would be like, everyone, Sips, do you think we should get? It's always a yes. It's always, like, don't even consider it. Just yes.
I love that because a lot of people say insurance is a grudge purchase.
No, I love insurance. I can't wait till like it's time to claim because I'm just like, yeah.
All right. So the insurance conversation has become quite topical. And what I can say to the consumers out there who are either thinking of getting solar solutions or already have taken up solar solutions is you do need to inform your insurer that you've just put in 150,000 rands worth of additional risk.
Yeah.
For the insurer. So what we do say to homeowners is reach out to your insurer. Let them know that you've just done an installation. What they're going to ask for is an invoice that shows the actual value that you want them to insure. And because it is a solar installation, as an example, especially the ones where it has been connected to your DB board, like we spoke about the hybrid solution before, they will ask for a certificate of compliance, because a certificate of compliance is generally issued it should be issued by the installer when they complete the installation. So when they hand over the installation back to you and they say, okay, we're done, we're doing a handover, they must give you a COC certificate, because it also gives the insurer a sense of the installation was done correctly by a qualified installer.
It's legitimate.
A qualified electrician, and that it's safe. Right, that it's not going to cause a fire. And
when it does cause a fire, it doesn't call you into question about what kind of suppliers you are having install things in your home. And now you've got to fight a long fight for 25 years with the insurance and your house is burnt down.
And what you've just said is actually very important. Start by using a credible supplier, a qualified supplier, okay? Because that will, everything else downstream is going to be important. Because I was talking to a friend the other day, an acquaintance, who was saying that they are really struggling to get a COC certificate out of the installer. So they've got a whole installation, but they can't get a COC. Imagine, now they can't talk to the insurer, they can't insure it, etc. So insurance is very important. But also what I want to mention as well is, depending on the type of solution that you have installed in your property. So if you've bought that battery backup trolley that you and I spoke about earlier, you are going to have to tell your contents insurer, right? Because it's an appliance, it's movable, it's a household content. The insurance lady was saying to me once, she was saying that if you remove the roof of your property and you turn it upside down,
everything will fall out.
It's contents insurance.
Love this.
Exactly. So that's how she was explaining it to me. So the trolley will fall out. You phone your contents insurer. You say, I've got this 15,000 rand unit, please add it. But if it's connected to your DB board, your hybrid solutions, your off-grid, etc., you phone your property insurer.
You've literally blown my mind. That is the most helpful thing I've heard in a very long time. If you take the roof off, you flip it upside down, whatever falls out. You've made my day. Last thing before I let you go. If I'm building a home from scratch, from the get-go, should I just be considering these solar solutions or
Yeah.
these energy solutions?
I think so. Why not? Why not? If you can, at least as part of your design and as you talk to the contractors, etc., because especially with building loans, right? And I'm now talking product. I know I'm not talking, but with building loans, you are able to at least give the bank an entire amount to say, this is how much it's going to cost me to build my property. It comes with everything else, your cupboards, your, all the other extras, your finishes, etc. Add solar onto the cost of your project, and just make sure that who wants to move into a beautiful house that is dark when there's load shedding?
No one. Who wants the food in their beautiful fridge to go off because of load shedding? I'm very angry about the food situation.
We haven't spoken about the different finance products though.
Tell me about them.
Okay, so the most, I think, popular products that we are seeing our customers actually access, and which I would say, if you can access those ones, is use your home loan. Use your home loan. If you have equity in your property, and I'll explain now what equity means. Use your home loan. If you have equity in your property, you access that equity, you pay for your solar installation. So what does equity mean? It actually means that, so I'm going to use an example. So you bought a property at R1 million, right? And a few years later, you've paid that loan to 800,000 rands, right? So between R1 million and 800,000 is 200,000 rands, right? That's equity, right? So you can phone the bank or go through, a process with consultants and apply for what we call a re-advance. A re-advance, what's basically going to happen is that we're going to do an affordability assessment to say, if we extend this additional 200,000 that you've paid already, how much would it cost for you to pay it back? So it could be like, maybe depending on the term that you choose, which we'll talk about now, let's say 1,200, whatever that amount is. And then you access the money. It's paid out within a week. Within a week, you get your 200,000 rands, right? And you can do your solar installation, and you pay month on month. After a couple of...
And it doesn't have to come from my savings or money from my pockets.
Exactly.
Or my holiday money to go to the Maldives.
And you own it. It's yours.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a re-advance. Now, a further advance, also similar concept. Let's go back to the example I used. So you've got a loan amount of R1 million, and you've paid your loan to 800,000. We're going to use the same example, right? But now the value of your property has increased by another 200,000. So the value of your property is now sitting at 1.2 million, right? So that additional 200,000 that's sitting between R1 million, which is your original loan amount, and the market value is also equity.
Oh,
so now in this example, you've got 200,000 between R1 million and 800, and you've got an additional 200,000 between R1 million
and 1.2.
So you've got 400,000 rands worth of equity. That
I'm rich. I'm rich, Portia.
So now what you do is you go to the bank and you say, I want to apply for a further advance. So a further advance says, I want to go and register an additional bond on my property at the deeds office for 1.2 million. That does take a little bit longer than the re-advance example I spoke about, because you have to go through the entire bond registration process. It could be around, let's say, 6 weeks, depending on how quickly that tenant
That's still fast.
Exactly. So then you access the full 400,000 rands as an example. So that's how you use...
that's almost R500,000 rand. I can get my solar and go to the Maldives.
Exactly.
This is very exciting.
And then, so we have a product that's very unique in the South African context called the multi-plan. So the multi-plan is a secondary account. It's just how we structure the loan for you. So if you take up the 200,000 rands, let's go back to the re-advance example. You apply for the re-advance, and within a week, we give you your 200,000. You go, you do a solar installation. You can say, you know what, I don't want to pay this 200,000 over the remainder of the term, the next 18 years, as an example. I want to pay it off in 7 years because I believe that, I can afford it, but also I don't want to pay off this investment over so long.
Yeah.
We structure it in a multi-plan. You pay it off in the time, the duration that you choose to pay it off.
Wow. Okay, fine. So I'll just go onto the Absa website and I'll sign up for everything. Is that what you're saying?
Whatever works for you.
Okay, it all works for me. The personal loan, the credit card, the re-advancement, the post, pre, zonke.
Multi-plan.
Yeah. Is your personal solution working for you, out of curiosity?
I am loving it, but also I'm learning every day.
What are you learning? Like, what are the unexpected things?
The most recent lesson that I learned is that I must also be responsible with the energy that I have.
Okay, say more.
So what happened I think it was just a week ago, in the evening, I had load shedding. I think I had load shedding for 4 hours. Obviously, I don't pay attention because
You
load
don't have
shedding
to.
doesn't generally affect me. But now, so I've got, I think, 4 hours worth of load shedding, but I'm sitting and I've got my heater on. So I've got a small heater that I normally use when I'm working. So I had this heater on, and I was just working. I'm carrying on. Next thing, darkness. I'm like, what's going on?
What happened?
And then I go out and I check outside. The few houses that I know that have got solar are on, so their lights are on. Everyone else is dark because, for those that
Still
don't
load
have-
shedding.
I'm load shedding. So I phoned, the guy who did my installation. I'm like, I don't know what happened. Something tripped, I said. And
Yeah.
he says, okay, go check the DB board. I go, I checked, and then he's like, that's strange. And I'm like, yeah, like, why don't I not have power? And he says, go check the battery. So he directs me, I go and I check on the inverter, and he says, what is the battery? And I'm like, I think it was sitting at like 10% or so, because they also make sure that your battery doesn't drain completely. So at some point it should.
They're going to cut you off.
Right? So I'm like, this is where he's like, but Portia, what were you doing? I said, I don't know, I had my heater on. He said, you drained your battery.
Portia.
So now I know, like, I can't, like, it's not like the world of honey and
No,
milk.
it's not.
I must be responsible.
It's not regular programming. Use it sparingly. Also
Exactly.
get a gas heater and a gas stove.
So I know in the evening, during the day, I have electricity in abundance.
Why?
Because the sun is out, I can generate electricity. I have no worries about, not having. But in the evening, when there's scarcity, I'm going to call it that, of the
sunshine.
rays of the sun, I must also use it sparingly.
I like that you shared that lesson. Keep that in mind. We are leaving it here. We will speak to you soon. Come back again. Love having you. And yeah, if you need to know anything about what Portia has told us tonight, just go onto the Absa website, absa.co.za. That's Africanacity. Listen, I'm Sibs Malaba Matiela. I will see you on the next episode of the Private Property Podcast. Otherwise, good night.